in order to make this bracelet, you will need a tape measure, a knife, a paracord needle or fid, so it's a bar, and then you've got threads on this side, and then the paracord will screw into the fid, and it helps with feeding the paracord into tight spaces, a lighter, and then 2 colors of paracord. Now the first thing you need to do is you need to measure the wrist. So an easy way to do that, if you don't have a flexible tape measure, is to take your paracord and loop it around your wrist and pinch where the 2 ends meet, like that, and then you can measure that section with the tape measure. So my wrist is about 7 inches around, and so in order to take that measurement and get it to know how much length to cut your paracord, the rule of thumb for a Cobra stitch bracelet is that for every foot of paracord you'll have 1 inch of bracelet. And so since this will be a two color bracelet and my wrist is 7 feet, the total amount of paracord, my wrist is 7 inches, the total amount of paracord will be 7 feet, and because I'm using 2 colors, I will need 3.5 feet of each color. So take your tape measure and measure out 3.5 feet of each color of paracord. Once you have cut your 2 lengths of 3.5 feet paracord, what you are going to do is, once you cut it, don't fuse the ends that you have cut, because we need these ends so we can fuse the 2 colors together to make the 2-color bracelet. So for that, you're going to just run the paracord through your fingers so you can get the casing over the inside of the paracord. Do that for both strands, and then hold them together in one hand like that, like so, and take your lighter and start melting the paracord. And once it's pretty well melted, you're going to want to press them together and hold it like that for a few seconds, and then lick your fingers and kind of smooth the fuse. So press together and smooth the fuse. Just roll it in between your fingers until you have it fused. You have them fused good together. Next, what you are going to do is you are going to remember your wrist measurement, which for me was 7 inches. Pull that out on your tape measure, and then you will take the paracord and line it up on the 7-inch mark, and maybe a little shorter since this is adjustable. This is an adjustable bracelet, so it doesn't need to be perfect to your wrist. So once you have that, pinch your marking point. I'm doing it at 6.5, and then you'll be starting your Cobra stitch. So to start that, take 1 color and put it underneath, and then take the other color and bring it underneath your left strand and over the 2 strands and pull it through, and then tighten this down, and this is the beginning of your Cobra stitch bracelet. Real quick, let's check to make sure that we've got the right measurement still, and check to make sure that our ends are even. Okay, my ends are a little uneven, so I'll just move this around a little bit till we can get it evened up, and there you go. So now this is the beginning of the Cobra stitch bracelet. So the color that you can see more is going to be the main color of your bracelet. So if you want this color to be the main color, make sure you have that side facing up, but if you don't, then flip it over at that side. I want red to be my main color, so I'll start with red. So whatever your main color is going to have to go on top every time. So take your secondary color, go underneath, and then your main color will go around and over, and then you can pull it through and tighten it. And then you just continue until you have reached almost to the end. You want to be about that far from the end. So remember, just go underneath with your secondary color, underneath that strand, and then over the bracelet, and then pull it through and tighten. And this is the Cobra stitch. So underneath with the gray strand, underneath the gray strand with the red strand over the bracelet, and pull it through the loop of the gray strand. And continue until you are about a ½ inch from the end. Underneath with the gray strand, under the gray strand with the red, over the bracelet, and through the loop. Like so. Once you reach the end of your bracelet, you are going to take your secondary color and feed it through the top of the loop at the end. So just kind of force it through. And then you're going to take your main color and feed it through the bottom. So now, once you reach this point, now comes the challenging part. So what you're going to need to do is take these ends and cut off the fused section. So take your knife and simply cut it off at a slight angle. And do the same for both sides. And this is how you will attach the paracord needle or fid. Take your end that you have cut at an angle with your paracord threading needle ready, and what you will do is you will barely melt it at all, just gently hold the lighter next to it, and then you will immediately begin screwing on the needle. So by doing this while it's still partway melted, this ensures that you have a good connection. See right there, it wasn't melted quite enough, so just reapply a little bit of heat and then screw it on. You're just wanting to just use a little bit of heat for this. And then now that you have your needle screwed on, you are going to take this and pass it through the same color at the top. So push the needle into the gap, and then once you get the needle through, then you'll be able to pull the paracord through. So it may take some working around of it, but once you get it through, then just pull the needle and the paracord will come right through. Now unscrew the fid, and then you'll be able to do the same for this side. So take your end that has been cut at an angle, apply a small amount of heat, and then take your fid and begin screwing it on. And screw it down pretty far. So that time it wasn't enough heat, so just reapply the heat and then screw it on. There we go. There we go. Okay, now just work the needle into the small loop at the top and then pull it through. So now that you have the 2 strands threaded through the bracelet, you can now tie your stopper knot. Once you have both strands threaded through, tie your stopper knot. I am just going to do a basic overhand knot, but there are a variety of stopper knots that you can tie. So once you get your strands through, just dress up the knot and make it look nice. And then after that, you can trim the ends and fuse them. So just take your knife, cut the ends so they're the same length, and then take your lighter and fuse it down. That was how you make an adjustable Mad Max style 2-color Cobra Stitch bracelet.